and he will fold his top pair face up. I don't like the face-up fold. It's communicating to your opponents that you are capable of folding top pair. A player like JJ Liu is going to run over you if you let her in on that piece of information. Jeff Cheevers stacks the pot. He's up to about 18,000 chips.
Sharks. While you might not want to swim in these waters, the poker players will tell you that it's the sharks at the poker table that are the most vicious.
In a tournament, in a real live game, the real players have a slight edge.
In tournaments, I personally don't like to play against amateurs because you never know where you are standing with them. So for me, it's not easy to put them on a hand.
Online players are a little different than traditional players. They're way quicker to act. And they'll push their stack quicker than a pro would.
Online players are very different from traditional players. It's almost a different game when you don't have to sit face to face with the player. They play really loose.
Online players, you get a wide variety of different types of players. You get the people that are just on there to gamble and have some fun, put some money up there and see if they can win something, and then you get the real calculated people that don't do well in the live tournament play. They're nervous of maybe giving a tell or something like that, and so they're more comfortable making a lot of money online just sitting at home.
Online players are very different than traditional players. I think they play a lot more loose because you can't see them.
I can give you an analogy on road rage, I suppose, is a good way of looking at it. Road rage, you're in a car, you've got a big metal box around you, you can bump people, you can swear at people, you can do whatever you want, and you can shoot straight off. And that's what a lot of online players do. They get in there, they make a fool of themselves, and away they go.
Welcome back to the feature table at the Party Poker Canadian Poker Championship. Again, a feature table here featuring two Canadians, Jeff Cheevers in seat 3 and Matt Novak in seat 7, and featuring one of the top pros in the world, JJ Liu, who has just joined the table, and she is in seat 6. We are still in level 3. The small blind is 100 and the big blind is 200. The button is in seat 3. Jeff Spanky Cheevers, one of our Canadian hopefuls. Jeff is a forklift driver, one of the many amateurs in the field today. Kirk Bell in the small blind with a 9-8 offsuit. Stephen Watts in the big blind with a Jack-5 offsuit. Matt Novak has limped in with Queen-8 of spades. And American Rick Long with King-Queen offsuit has also called. Folded around to Jeff Cheevers on the button with a 6-2 of clubs. You might consider playing that on the button, but he will fold it. If you play really well post-flop, you can play a lot of hands in late position if you can get in cheap. But Jeff has decided to pass on his 6-2, and you can't fault him for that. Kirk Bell in the small blind calls, and we see a flop of 7-King-9 Rainbow. Checking the small blind to Stephen in the big blind. He checks, Matt checks, and Rick Long with his King-Queen. He's flopped top pair. He's also checking. He does have position. I guess he's setting a trap, and on the turn, the 10 of clubs has shown up, so his King-Queen is still the best hand. Kirk Bell in the small blind checks to Stephen Watts in the big blind, who has absolutely nothing, but he's going to fire out a bluff there. 450 chips. Matt Novak has picked up a straight draw, any 6 or any jack, and he will call. And Rick Long with top pair in the best hand, he will also call. Again, not putting in a raise, he's just going to call. I guess he's afraid of his kicker, or he's setting a trap for the river. Kirk folds the small blind, and it's 3 players to the river. Stephen can't be happy. He's had 2 people call his bluff, both of whom have position on him. It'll be hard for him to press the bluff on the river. And the river is an inconsequential 2 of diamonds. Rick Long's King-Queen still the best hand. A check. Stephen's going to give up on his bluff. Matt Novak's going to check. And Rick's just going to show it down. He's just going to show down the hand. I don't know why you wouldn't bet there. Really, what are you afraid of? I guess a Queen-Jack makes a straight, a 2 pair, or a set. But you'd think if any of your opponents had any of those hands, they would have put a bet out on the river. That leaves Rick Long hovering around the 10,000 mark, around the starting chip stack. As Mike Carroll likes to teach, a chip you do not lose is just as valuable as a chip you win. But at some point, if you're going to win this thing, Rick, you're going to have to accumulate all the chips in play. I think you probably should have put a bet out on the river there. Wouldn't have mattered, mind you, because neither of his opponents would have called, they both had absolutely nothing. Not to mention easier to talk about than to actually play. Kirk Bell on the button has picked up a pair of pocket sixes, looking to see what the action will be when it reaches him. Vincent Napolitano has picked up pocket sevens in early position, and he will make it 550 to go. Folds, 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 folds around to Kirk, who moves all in with his pocket sixes. Steve will fold his king 8, and J.J. Liu will get out of the way, and we have the first big confrontation of the day. I should say possible confrontation. You can almost look into Kirk's head, and you can hear him shouting, "Don't call, don't call, don't call." At least that's what I would be shouting if I were him. Don't call, whatever you do. It is 5,550 more to Vincent. He has to call 5,500 into a pot of just over 6,000. Really tough to call. He's got the best hand, but really tough to make that call. Vincent's going to give it some thought. He'll fold his sevens, throws him face up. Here you go. I bluffed you. You folded the best hand. That'll sting a little bit, but you really can't make a 5,000 chip call with pocket sevens. Kirk the Birdman Bell, because he's a poultry farmer, stacking the pot. He got pretty lucky that his opponent was as weak as he was. A Party Poker Canadian Poker Championship player profile on Kirk the Birdman Bell.
My name's Kirk Bell. I'm good for an average round player back home in Arkansas. We used to play at a deer camp, and we've moved it to an old house. And we call it the Blue Moon Poker Club because the house is blue and it's got a blue commode in it. And we got 3 little rooms there. We get together on Thursday nights. We cook dinner. We eat dinner. We pay a $30 entry fee, which covers our food. And we split the money up, and the top 4 wins. And it's just about 25 guys that get together every week and have a good time.
Back to the action at the Party Poker Canadian Poker Championship. Still in level 3, the small blind of 100, the big blind of 200. Representing the pros, J.J. Liu with an ace-8 of hearts in the small blind. King of clubs, 6 of diamonds for Matt Novak in the big blind. And a bunch of kids who don't want to play today. Folded all the way around to JJ, who will just call with her ace-8 of hearts. Matt Novak checks. 2 players to the flop. Matt Novak won his way in here at Party Poker, and JJ Liu paid her way in. She's hit top pair. Pair of 7s on board, however. JJ checks, Matt checks, and a 10 on the turn. The turn card is an inconsequential 10. JJ checks and has induced the bluff from Matt Novak. He's fired out 200 chips. JJ calls. I like his bet. JJ's checked twice to you. Take a little stab at the pot. Don't lose any more on the river. 4 of spades in the river, another inconsequential card. JJ's ace is still good. Check, check. I like your shot at it, Matt. Take a chance. Take a bet. Take a 200 chip poke at the pot. You didn't get it. That's okay. JJ's not going to get 2 out of hand with a top pair, no kicker in that spot. A lot of new players don't understand that. There is no shame in getting caught bluffing. Because if you never bluff, then savvy opponents like J.J. Liu are going to take you for every chip you've got. You've got to have bluff in your arsenal, and if you get caught occasionally, then you're doing something right. What you want to avoid is taking a big loss on a bluff, and Matt lost 200 chips, big deal. Matt with ace of diamonds, 3 of diamonds. In the big blind, 9 of hearts, 8 of hearts for Rick Long, and pocket 8s for Stephen Watts. Big slick for Bob Gordon, who is without his sunglasses there. He puts them on when he gets involved in a hand. He makes it 700 to go with his big slick. Folded to Stephen Watts with his pair of 8s.
Anybody out there want to call?
He's contemplating, and he will just call. He is getting pretty short stacked, and moving in all there certainly wouldn't have been a bad play. He's chosen just to call. Matt calls with his ace-3, and Rick calls with his 9-8. Big pot, 2,800 chips in the pot pre-flop. 4-way action to the flop. The flop is 9-7-10. Matt checks. He has nothing. Now Rick's got an interesting hand. He's got second pair and a straight draw, and he's going to bet 1,000 chips. Didn't want to bet his king-queen earlier, but now he's willing to step out. There's Bob with his, now he's got his glasses on, you see. He puts them on when he plays a hand. He folds. To Stephen, who's going to move all in with his 8s. He's moving all in with a straight draw. I mean, maybe he thinks his 8s might be good if